Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share the cleaning routine for my 100 species ecosystem tank, and in this cleaning session I mainly tackle one ferocious enemy, filamentous algae. Only 3 weeks after setting up my tank, the algae spread all over the place. Hardscape, cryptocurrents and even anubias. Will I be able to get rid of the algae? And how are the first 17 species doing after their first few weeks in the ecosystem? Let's find it out together. The first step in my tank cleaning routine is always to clean the glass. Especially in this newly set up ecosystem tank, the glass is quite dirty, I would say. I think you can see it in the middle of the tank where it's difficult even to see through, and that's only after like 2 weeks after setting up the ecosystem. The thing is that I have this huge spread or growth of filamentous algae, and yeah, this species doesn't grow slowly. They grow extremely fast. There are different names that I found on the internet for this kind of algae. I found, for instance, Spirogyra or Cladophora. Some of them are saltwater species, some of them are freshwater species. I think in this tank we definitely have a freshwater species, and it's growing insanely fast. You can see it on the Hardscape right behind my hand at the moment. It's growing, it looks like hair actually that grows on the plants and on the Hardscape, and it's really tough to get rid of this stuff. Also, I had to repair my glass cleaning glue tool that I'm using here, and it doesn't really work because I use a razor blade from a robotic lawnmower, which I still had laying around, and really doesn't work that well. So if you have suggestions for another glass cleaning tool, just put them in the comment. I have not decided yet. Maybe a magnet or something like this would work. Next step, usually I don't do this, but in this tank it still makes sense because it's newly set up, and the hardscape, at least the roots, are not fully soaked with water yet, so they still float. As you can see, you can just let them go and they will float on top of the water because the wood has been dry for 10 years, maybe 8 years, 5 years, I don't really remember. It's been lying in the basement of my parents' place, and yeah, so it's way lighter than water, so it will just float. So I just use some stones or other heavy hardscape, such as other roots, to put some weight on it, and then it can slowly soak with water. It will also release some tannins into the water, which is good, at least in the South America style or Amazon style setup as we have here. And you can see it floats around. For me, it's actually a bit annoying because it takes really long now. It already takes weeks for this root to fully soak with water. So I always have to have this stone that I just put out on this root, and this is really annoying because I actually want a little bit of a different style, but yeah, it is how it is. Now I continue with siphoning the water really slowly. It's always really important to watch out for baby guppies and other fry, baby shrimp. Usually in my other tank I have baby shrimp, a lot of them. They are so tiny, you can barely see them. So what I usually do is I have my finger on the intake of the pipe, and I can just put it in front of the pipe when I see there's a small fish coming. Also small snails and stuff. I don't wanna stress them too much. They usually don't die if you soak them through the pipe, but it's unnecessary stress, and I don't want to stress my fish. I want them to have a nice and easygoing life, so no need for them to do this roller coaster ride. But I have to get rid of this filamentous algae, because if you let this grow uncontrolled, and if there's no like real ecosystem balance in the tank yet, and this is normal after such a short amount of time, this filamentous algae will just grow all over the place and take all of the light from all the other plants. The other plants will then rot and die, and then you get a real big problem, because then you have a overload, so to say, of nutrients, of exhaust gases, of other things that come up when animals or plants die, and then the animals will die. So your fish will die, your snails will die, and you want to prevent that at any cost. And since I had this in the past, I just want to get rid of the filamentous algae. Not of all of them. Algae are an important part of this ecosystem, to be honest, but of most of them. So this is what I do here with my hands. And I mean, guppies and mollies are algae eaters. Snails as well, they are omnivorous, basically all of them. So I assumed that they would eat all of the algae, but they just can't keep up with the algae growth. As I said, filamentous algae grows extremely fast. It's usually found in ponds, but also shorelines and backwaters, according to the Department of Natural Resources. I will link the source that I found in the description. And it's really, it is actually beneficial for small animals in the wild because it provides cover for small animals such as insects, snails, scuds, for instance, which I don't have in the tank, but I want to add them. In their early stages, you know, when they are really small and have to hide from predators, filamentous algae is really beneficial. But in nature, filamentous algae is also eaten by like maybe birds or larger fish, maybe crustaceans. I don't have many crustaceans in there yet. I haven't seen my one amano shrimp in there, and I have not added other crustaceans yet. As I said, I want to add scuds, but maybe also Neocaridina shrimp, maybe dwarf crayfish, as one of you guys suggested, or also tubifex worms. And I hope some of these species will help controlling the algae growth, but so far I don't have them yet. As you can see, the molly is swimming around. He's often trying to eat the filamentous algae, but he isn't really that successful. Also, it's just one molly against maybe like half a kilogram of filamentous algae. So yeah, I really have to help my fish and plants here a little bit. But after some weeks, I think it will be fully grown in. And what someone else suggested in the comments is to add floater plants, like for instance duckweed, because apparently it takes up exactly the nutrients that this filamentous algae thrives on. I think it was nitrogen that somebody mentioned in the comments, that if you have a lot of nitrogen in your tank, the filamentous algae will thrive. So if you have duckweed, and you can see the duckweed on the right hand side, right in front of the filter intake, it will take up this nitrogen and just then float on the top of the water, and then take away the nitrogen source from the filamentous algae. So again, I don't want to kill the filamentous algae or lead to its extinction here, because it's also somewhat beneficial to the fish. But I wanna get rid of most of it so my plants don't die. You can already see that the filter did quite a good work. And also just the natural sedimentation, I would say. The water gets cleaner and cleaner while I'm preparing or cleaning the hardscape by hand at the moment. So I just use a sponge and clean it actually to put it back into the tank later. Now this tank is really new, so I want to use or to sort of reuse the water that I just took out of the tank. I don't want to put only fresh water in there because I don't have many beneficial bacteria in there yet, because I couldn't reuse the old filter as shown in a previous video, and I don't want to stress my fish and my plants and my snails too much. So I just take out all of the dirt here, let it put the dirt into another bucket, well, not dirt but the plants and other like filamentous algae and stuff, and I just put that on my balcony because I use it as a natural compost, so to say. I also have a lot of plants at home, like I have a small indoor garden with tomatoes and eggplants and stuff, and usually I create my own compost. In the place I lived before, I had a small garden where I could do that in the garden, but now I have to do this in a bucket. So let's take the old water and just put it back into the tank, basically. You will see that it's a little dirty, or how to say, it's not the cleanest water that I put in there, but in a matter of like 1 hour maybe it will be clean again. because the filter will just clean it. But what's in there is tons and tons of bacteria. Not tons, but actually millions of bacteria, beneficial bacteria that fish and plants need to thrive. I don't want to kill the ecosystem, or not the ecosystem, the microbiome of this tank, so to say, by just putting in new water from the tap, uncycled water. I will do that in maybe the next cleaning session in 2 or 3 weeks. I will definitely put some tap water in there. I also put some tap water in there today. Don't get me wrong here, because you cannot really get all of the water back that you take out of the tank. And a bit of tap water is okay, like 20 liters, it's 10%, that's okay. But the rest, I think I took out 60 liters from this tank, roughly, from a 240, 250 liter tank. So I didn't want to put back in so much uncycled tap water. Just, again, not to stress them too much. And you see the guppies and the molly, they are actually doing super well. Guppies, one of my favorite fish species. They have such a huge variety, and their history is also very interesting, I must say. So originally they are from the Amazon basin in South America, according to my knowledge. And one of them was trapped in a bucket, that's why I put him in there. So guppies are originally from the Amazon basin, but they nowadays can be found all over the world. They are living on every continent except for Antarctica. I think that's probably true for most of the animals, that they don't live in Antarctica. However, they live on every continent, even in Europe, which is relatively cold, I would say, and North America, also in Asia, because they were often used as a natural weapon, so to say, against mosquitoes. So guppies eat a lot of insects, they also eat a lot of algae, and also mosquito larvae. So they were used or introduced as a natural natural way to kill mosquitoes, and now they are just everywhere. Also in Germany, fun fact, there is a guppy river. You can find it on YouTube, so it's super unreal. I want to go there someday in the future. It's close to where I live, relatively close, because Germany is so small. And in this guppy river you have guppies literally in the snow. So there's I think some natural hydrothermal water source from underground or something that naturally leads to a warm water well, and guppies and mollies are just thriving there. Also, I saw some cichlids, some South American ones in a video on YouTube, and I think it's just crazy. Like, nature always finds a way, and this is really beautifully shown by these small animals. I'm not sure if you can see them, the Corridoras paleatus that I put in there. So some weeks ago I asked you guys for the species of this peppered cory. Then one of the two of the community members mentioned it is actually peppered cory, which enabled me to go to the fish store. You can see one on the left hand side right now, a very small one. So I was able to go to the fish store and buy some more peppered cories. So I put in 4 new ones, very, very juvenile ones, very young ones. So in total I have now 5 Corridoras paleatus in there. And Corridoras also are originally from the Amazon basin. And they also have at least the Corridoras paleatus. I don't know about the rest of the Corridoras family, or Corridoras genus to be biologically correct. They feed on worms, crustaceans, insects, but also on plant matter, like old plant debris. They also feed on that, which is very common in the Amazon basin. Like, imagine there's how do you call it? Maybe a canopy of trees, or many trees. The water sometimes is lower, sometimes is higher, and when there's a flood or something, some of the trees dies. The leaves are falling down, and then the Corridoras probably eat the dead leaves and any animal or insect that is small enough to fit in their mouth. I just think you can see the old Cory there. We actually named him Cory. I think it's a male. I don't know how to distinguish males and females in Corydoras. You could just see him on the left-hand side. Now he disappeared again. And I just think they are such lovely animals, to be honest. They are like, I feel like little cats or dogs when they swim around in the tank. And it's just super amazing to watch them, I would say. They have really like this personality. Now you can see how the tank quickly settles while I fill up the bucket with some tap water because, as I said before, I couldn't fill up the whole tank with the old water, and also I'm getting rid of some more filamentous algae, and then I put in some more tap water, turned back on the filter, and now let it cycle for a relatively long time. The black molly is really enjoying this year, I think, because everything that is just floating in the water he can eat now, and also the guppies. Also the Corydora on the bottom left, just such a lovely little animal. I think they are just amazing, amazing to watch and have a huge like personality, I would even say. Not all of the animals have like this personality kind of thing. Well, personality is maybe too human of a trait, but yeah, I don't have another word to describe it. They look so curious. You can see him swimming from the left to the right here, and it's just an amazing animal. You can still see some of the filamentous algae in there, and to be honest, now that I'm recording and speaking, this is already 2 weeks ago, and the filamentous algae growth has not slowed down. So if you know any really good natural measures against filamentous algae, please put them in the comments. This really would help me a lot. I thought about Neocaridina shrimp or plecos, but my problem with plecos, to be honest, is plecos, at least the normal plecos that you can buy in the fish store, get up to 15 centimeters, which would be, I think, 6 inches if I counted correctly. So way too big for the setup. I want to focus on nano tank species that are really good for community tanks. So I thought about maybe something like a pleco, or even a pleco, but a very tiny pleco, or maybe loaches, something like hillstream loaches, that really don't get bigger than 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters if you're from Europe. Also, I created a 40-minute video of this tank cycling. It's just very relaxing to watch this video. So if you are into a relaxing video that you can use to fall asleep with a lot of nice water sounds and just some super nice animal footage of this ecosystem, please click here now to check out this video, or check out this other video from Natural Aquariums. Thank you for watching, friends.